talking to people about disciplining their child always is wild because like they want to act like the punishment fit the crime and usually it doesn't. I remember on my second date with an ex, you know, there's a lot of reasons why me and him dated, but I also was just curious like how he was treating his child and like things to keep track of if I should report it to CPS or whatever. And you know, the daughter seemed to be doing well objectively, but he did tell me once on the way to Dave and Buster's, a terrible fucking date to take an autistic chick, by the way. He was like, hey, like, somehow it came up and he said, I've had to beat my daughter's ass a few times, but, not a lot. She's a pretty healthy kid. I don't think it messed with her development whatsoever. I only did it when necessary. And I said, oh, well, out of curiosity, you said a couple times? He was like, yeah. I said, oh, then what was, can I guess, like, can I ask what she did that, like, led to her getting her ass whooped? And then he explained, like, oh, so she had this hamster, and I paid a lot of money to get it in the first place, and she only had it for a couple months by then. And she was picking it out of its cage, and I guess it bit her or was moving too much. So she accidentally dropped it. And then it fell on its hind legs, and it was screaming, and blood was everywhere, and she was crying because she was like, 3 or 4. And then I had to take her to the hospital and pay a bunch of bills to like get it fixed. But they explained that you can't. It would cost more money to fix the hamster's little fucked up legs because they have fragile bones and shit. And so we had to put it down, and that cost a lot of money. And like she felt bad about it, but I had to whoop her ass to show her that it was wrong. And then just explained to her, oh, okay, sounds like you just beat the ass of a 4-year-old girl who, did something on accident and felt really bad about it already, and then you decided to take out your rage on her because you were mad that it cost a lot of money. Sounds like, her losing a beloved pet and feeling really, really bad and crying hysterically because she just like fatally injured it on total accident when it bit her. And it's like, that sounds like punishment enough, and it sounds like you just hit her to take out your frustrations, not to teach her a lesson or make her feel bad, just to release your anger. And then he was like, ah, shit, you're kind of right, damn. Well, at least I only did it once. And I said, you said a couple times. He was like, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. You said more than once, a couple times, you beat her ass. You can admit your mistakes and own up to them. If you hide them away and never reflect on them, then you'd be a bad person. And I like to think you're better than that. And I know you're better than that. Just, you can admit that you had your faults as a parent because, you were like a single parent at the time, sort of. And everyone's trying their best and everyone makes mistakes, but like, as long as you recognize it's bad and aim not to do it again in the future and be more rational and calm, then that's important. That's a lesson that my mother sadly never learned, and I'd like to think that he learned it, but then again, we saw how he treated me for the rest of that relationship for the additional 4 months that I was in his life after that point, so let's not get our hopes up. But if anyone's wondering, the daughter does seem fine, but there have been random moments here or there where I've just thought to myself, I should call CPS. Should I? Like, should I? I think, like, she seems like no beatings, no punishments. Like, hell, I remember the last time I actually hung out with him and his kid. Like, like she would do something astronomically disrespectful, and then he would just be like, hey, stop that, in the little, in the white parent voice, and then come back in with a bag of gummy bears later, like, I'm sorry, here you go. And it's like, why are you giving her gummies? What? Like, I feel like they're like, okay, like, still discipline your child. You don't gotta beat her ass over any small transgression, but it's like, if you're just gonna be like, hi, I got you a Domino's pizza because you're sad about me having a girlfriend now, it's like, after you just disrespected the girlfriend like hella times, that's not cool. There also is the inverse of this, and I guess I'll mention it. When I was a child, like a decade ago, I was this thing called a mother's helper. It's like a babysitter, but where you're around as the, like, helping the mother alongside her doing the actual mothering. She made some good ass tuna chicken salad sandwiches. I gotta give her that, but let's stay on topic. She had two twins, and they would act a mess in public, and she was not very good at disciplining them at all. Like, no. She was the type of parent where it's like, she could be like, hey, Justice, can you please stop kicking and crying and throwing things and screaming at the top of your lungs? Like, we're almost home, buddy. And he would keep doing it. And then she'd say, hey, Justice, guess what? If you stop, I'll give you a cookie when we get home, which is already a terrible parenting method. But then this little nigga gonna stop crying, like 100% drops the facade, like breaks his Oscar-worthy performance, and he says, "No, two cookies." And then she goes, "No, one." He says, "No, two cookies." And they have an actual back and forth. And then at some point he wins, and he's like, "Yay!" But I know him as a kid. It's like, okay, like he's definitely got some sort of, no offense, like even my own mother kind of suspected it. I wouldn't be shocked if he has like some sort of ADHD. And I know you're like, why are you diagnosing a 4-year-old with a condition? It's like, how do I put this? As someone with ADHD, it's more like, I'm recognizing a pattern here. And what can I say? But I'm not diagnosing him. It's like I've seen hyperactive children, and I've seen, let's just say some things were adding up. But either way, I knew he'd forget about that shit. I leaned over to her and I was like, "Michelle, whatever you do, do not give that boy that cookie. Because, like, no, he's going to forget about it. Just take him inside, put him to bed. He's going to forget all about the cookie. He'll go to sleep super fast. It'll be, like, no issue." And then she says hella loud, "What? No, I promised him the cookie, so he's getting a cookie." I said, "Yeah, but think about it. You're going to be rewarding bad behavior, and it's not going to be healthy. Because then he's going to know that he can just do this every time he throws a tantrum, and will throw tantrums on purpose to get his way." And then she was like, "No, I said I'm giving him the cookie, so I'm giving him the cookie." She looks in her rear view mirror and she says, "Hey, Justice, guess what? Now you're getting 3 cookies." He's like, "Yay!" Ecstatic as fuck. And then this bitch, as she's driving, like, maybe she thinks on it for about like 10-20 seconds. And you can just see the dread form on her face because it's like, fuck, this little 14-15-year-old girl is actually kind of right. This stupid bitch eventually looks back to her son, her 4-year-old, who she knows pitches a bitch. And she looks in the rearview mirror and she's like, "Hey, actually, Justice, I don't think you've been very good tonight, so I'm not gonna give you any cookies." Why the fuck would you say that? And then he put on a 4 times as powerful theatrics, kicking, screaming, flailing, biting, scratching, to the point where I was bleeding and losing my fucking mind. And he kept the whole house up for hours. He was tossing shit, throwing it, like just causing absolute chaos. And it's like, bitch, why would you do that? She wasn't very good at it. It's like, but I will, to her credit, say that, like, well, okay, no, she's been dumb as fuck plenty of times. Like, she's the type of person where I could tell her, like, "Hey, she'd be like, "Hey, Justice and June," because I'm not gonna say their full legal names. She's like, "Justice and June, guess what? When we get in here, we're gonna act right. You get that?" And then I'd look in their kids' faces, and I'd know, oh, these little niggas aren't listening. I'd be like, "Hey, maybe we should pause and like make eye contact and like kneel with them so that they can like really have nothing to focus on but us. I think they're tuning us out again." She, and of course she would. She was like, "What? No, of course I'm gonna. Of course they'd listen to me. I'm their mother." Bitch, when have they ever listened to you? So we enter this fucking place called Mod Pizza. It's like fancy-ish Subway, but with pizzas. It actually is pretty damn cool. We walk in. The kids sprint in to the first table they can find, and they hop on top of it and start screaming at the top of their fucking lungs. And they're standing on the tables and they're jumping like fucking, like full on stomping. Everyone turns their fucking heads. I'm trying to wrangle them down. I look over at their mother. The mother's pretending those aren't even her kids. And it's just me, a 14-year-old girl, trying to wrangle down 2 big ass, tall ass children off this fucking table. I lose track of one of them. He runs up to a random table, grabs their fucking cheese, and starts chugging the Parmesan cheese and licking all over the little metal and glass canister of Parmesan cheese and chugging it. So yeah, I don't go to restaurants where they have pepper shakers filled with cheese anymore, because I always think about that. It's like, ew, how many children have licked this and we don't even know? And yeah, I tried to wrangle them, but it's hard to do that when I'm not their fucking mother, and like the mother doesn't respect any disciplinary practices I encouraged, good or bad. And yeah, let's just say we left as quickly as we came in, and the mother threatened to not pay me, and also then she finally took my fucking advice, and the kids went in and acted 25% less of an ass. But they still threw themselves on the floor plenty of times. And yeah. But the lady Michelle herself, she herself had a fucked up relationship with her own parents. Like, they were really, really abusive. I remember once at Michelle's house, Like, the kids were being so, like, especially the boy, he was the really hyperactive. He was kind of like the most problematic one. Like, the girl was sassy, he was just straight up like brutalist. Don't get me wrong, the girl has fucking clawed my body to the point where things almost scarred. Like, Jesus, I've never met a 4-year-old with nails that sharp. It was scary. But the little boy was the type to run around the house, like, smash shit, break shit, throw shit. Like, it was awful. And at some point, like, after hours of bullshit that led to us not going to a park, like, to get all the energy out, she's a single mother. She struggled. At some point, she did, like, lightly smack the side of his leg. And this little boy, like, he kind of fake cried, like, ow, ah, ha, ha, and then he revealed he was fake, and he was like, ha ha, ha ha, stupid, ugly, ha ha. Like, he was laughing in her face, and maniacally started laughing like he was the fucking Joker, because he managed to trick her into thinking that her slightly whacking his thigh did anything. Like, it was the most gentle pat ever. Like, he was playing in her face. But she felt awful about even that, and she was like, I'm so sorry for doing that in front of you, Tamia. I feel like such a fucked up parent. And I said, no, you're a good parent. Maybe even a little too good. Like, no offense. Like, how do I put this? You care about your kids a lot. I understand. You love your children. And I know it's very hard for you, and you had your past, but I wouldn't even say it's abuse. Like, because it's like you don't do anything to harm them whatsoever. Like, one swat on the leg will not fully stop their development, I don't think. Like, no offense, my mom did some fucked up, evil medieval torture shit to me, and I came out surprisingly okay. Well, okay. Even though you could be like, what about your dating life? Shut the fuck up. But it's like I was gently telling her, like, because it's like, how do you tell an adult, hey, girl, personally, I think you should have started giving him whoopings, or like some sort of, like, if not whoopings, because I'm not saying get a belt and just go medieval on his ass. Fuck no. But how do I put this? I once dated this guy, and his parents were fucked up. His mom decked him in the fucking face as a kid multiple times. And her own mother got like some fucking worse than medieval torture shit, because it was the 1950s and her dad was a misogynist who had nothing but 5 girls. Yeah, let's just say generational trauma can be really fucking real, and I get why people are so scared. Understandably so. We wouldn't want our kids to get tortured the same way, but some of us haven't been taught new practices or what is the right way. So some of us are just like the lesser of two evils compared to our parents. Like, my mom always brought up that her own mother put a gun to her face and said, you ain't shit and you're never gonna be shit. Just like I ain't shit, before passing out and putting the gun away. And how that fucked up my mom for life when she was like 4. Uh, like, sorry, I'm not gonna say something inappropriate, even though I have the urge to, but still. It's like, my mother still could have done a lot better. Like, a lot better. Like, hell, I have scars on my face from the last time she ever attacked me, 3 years ago. But I'll take a few scars over ever seeing her again. It's a good trade off. I can always wear makeup. There's lotions out there to treat scars. Hmm. But anyway, as I was saying about the guy I dated, his name was Patrick Number One. I think I've made a video on him in the past. He was a really good ex, or like maybe the lesser of a bunch of evils, let's say. But for him specifically, he did tell me that if he ever had a kid, he knows that he doesn't need to like whoop, like, because Patrick himself has ADHD and shit. He was a hyperactive handful of a child, but he didn't need to be brutalized, and even he knew that. He struggled with attention and stuff and was a bit of a handful, but still, he knew, like, hey, you don't have to like beat a kid's ass, you don't have to like fucking brutalize it, but you can just like grab it by the arm and be like, hey, don't do that. You know not to do that. Like, you could set it straight. You would still let it know, I'm the boss. I am stronger than you and have more control and power over your life, and you must respect me. And don't you dare ever think you can. Like, yeah, you don't have to physically just be punching the shit out of your kids. Sometimes you can just be grabbing their arm and be like, don't you fucking do that shit. Or like, you can have a conversation with them. Like, really. Like, really. Like, and also, I'll say it. Sometimes people beat their kids as a form of frustration. I remember when I was younger, like, this is a bit of a embarrassing tale, but when I was younger, I remember I peed myself in my sleep. And I thought to myself, oh, I bet my mom's tired of washing all these blankets all the time, every day, every time. And I don't know, I don't smell anything, but then again, I didn't have a strong sense of smell. I thought to myself, I could probably just get dressed and go to school normally. And I did. And no offense, my mother didn't notice the smell. Some other kids did. They were like, huh, smells like nachos in here. But Nothing really happened until I got home, and then my mother realized because she found my wet blankets and smelled me and stuff. Now, if I recall correctly, like she at first threatened to beat my ass, but then she sat me down and explained like the health risk and like how that could affect my bonds with other people and make her look bad, and how it's not healthy, and how it would probably like fuck up my clothing and my bed and ruin the skin, and how she would have wanted me to just simply talk to her and all this and that. And then I felt natural amounts of shame. I was like, oh oops, I'm sorry. And then I felt really bad naturally, because I was like, what, like fucking 8 9. Like, I was quite young, and I thought to myself, oh, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass her or, like, risk fucking up my health, and I feel really bad and stupid now. I could have just came to her straight away. And, it could have just been a conversation where it's like, okay, don't do that again, baby. Go take a shower, and, let's not have this conversation again, and I like to think you know better. And it's like, yeah, 100%. And also, she probably should have realized, like, hey, my child doesn't really have a sense of smell, like, and probably should have got that checked out. Like, I haven't had a sense of, like, a strong sense of smell until, like, how old was I? Ironically, once COVID hit, I got a sense of smell. Funny how that worked. But I'll put it to you like this. Instead, like, despite how I clearly felt bad, clearly felt shame, and I apologized and was going to do better, she said, all right, now I'm gonna have to beat your ass, baby. But I feel bad about doing this, but I have to. It's gonna hurt me more than this hurts you. Bitch, no the fuck it wouldn't. And then she beat my ass with a belt as hard as she could with the door open so the other kids could hear. Yeah, that was unnecessary. I already learned my lesson. You just felt like doing that. It kind of taught me, like, oh, okay, so this is more just for you to take out your anger. Not because you care about reaching a resolution or me developing right or growing as a person. You just wanted to do that because you thought it'd be like a fun way to fucking spend your Tuesday afternoon, and you wanted to embarrass me or, like, worsen or just fuck up my body and shit. Like, no. Fuck you. And it's like, I was a skinny child, too. Like, hell, she could have just used her hand. She didn't need to use a leather belt, full strength swinging. Like, really? What a bitch. But that's the fun thing about being estranged, is that you can call your mother all sorts of things on the internet. I can say she's an ugly, stupid fucking cunt who I don't care about in the slightest, and that if she got hit by a car, I'd feel bad for the car because something so ugly got on it. Ew. Or maybe would I feel bad for her? I don't know. That's a moral dilemma we can save for another video. Like, I'd probably feel like, no, I don't know if I would. It's debatable. Like, I guess now the hatred over the years has subsided more into like a kind of like indifference where it's like, that's a person. Oh, they got injured? Duh. And I'll put it this way, if you don't want your kid to see you that way, then you should probably not have the same vibes towards your kid for their entire fucking life. Don't abuse your kid naturally. Learn ways to discipline. That doesn't mean be like a Michelle and just let your kid do anything fucking ever, because the one time she actually lightly smacked the side of that kid's thigh, even that didn't hurt him, but she still felt astronomically bad. Whole time I was thinking, like, damn, girl. Like, I'm not even pro child abuse, but put some put some wrist into it. I don't know. Or like, just like, but you know what helped was Michelle had this I can't tell if it was a weird lesbian situationship or if it was just a very masculine girl that was a lady. It was a friend. I don't know. I didn't pry. I was a child. All I knew is they were the ones that usually were there to step in and could call Michelle out on her overly sweet, sappy, like, sad bullshit. And they would often grab, like, her son, Justice, by the wrist and be like, don't fucking do that to your mother. She loves you. Never do that again. And, like, she kind of was able to, like, get through to him. Like, it was still a bit difficult. So I'm just saying, for some situations, like, I can excuse certain things just depending on the level of, like, maniacal headassery. Like that scene in the Boondocks where that kid is pushing over aisles and destroying shit. It's like, okay, I ain't saying you gotta beat his ass, but something needs to be done. You don't have to beat his ass aggressively hard. I don't know. That's a complex thing. I'm a human too. I'm human too. But simply put, you have to, like, a teacher once told me, you should never encourage someone to hit their children unless they are putting themselves in a life-threatening situation. And usually only then. Anything else can usually be talked to and through. And it's like, that's true. Because when I was younger, I remember we were at some burger joint and I ordered this, like, blue light-up drink. This other guy ordered a green light-up drink. When it came out, I guess they ran out of food coloring and he got a drink that looked basically just like mine. And I was kind of upset because I thought it was like my drink, and then all the adults at the table started like got overly aggressive about it and snappy and rude towards me. I started crying, and I guess as I was trying to like cope with my emotions, because I was like, what, like 4 or 5, like I put my elbows on the table, but I guess they thought, oh, she put her elbows on the table a bit too hard. And then next thing you know, it's like I'm being taken in the bathroom, and like my fucking great aunts with her ugly fucking stupid hair ass, like, fuck you, bitch. Oh, she was the type of dumb bitch to get a relaxer and then bleach her hair. Like, fuck her. Bitch, I'm glad the Raiders left. She was a huge Raiders fan. She would fight me if she knew I said that. Why am I saying that? Anyway, but yeah, next thing you know, that bitch was in the bathroom threatening to take me outside to whoop my ass in the middle of the street because I was like, what? It's like I wasn't even the type to like cry and scream and thrash. It's like, oh no, this girl is like silently like releasing tears from her face. And then next thing you know, that became a thing in our family. The whole like you couldn't even show any sign of like your eyes watering in the slightest before my mom would start trying to threaten to buy the belt. And it's like, cool, you're not doing this at all to help me. You're doing this because you're frustrated. And it's like she would, so it's like she could be screaming in your face so loud that fucking people from 4 houses away would have their walls shaking. And yet she would expect you, a child, to not cry. And even if you showed any sign of a lip quiver or any sign of a slightly like 0.1% moistened eye, suddenly she's trying to fight you and assault you and beat your ass. And it's like, yeah, these people don't like, I don't understand. Like, you don't care about your kids' development. Beating them is for you, not the children. Because guess what? Anytime my mom tried to threaten to beat me or did some stupid, embarrassing, really, really dumb. Like, she did a million dumb things in advance that led to me estranging her. It wasn't just one thing contrary to belief. It's like when she found out about that revenge porn incident in high school, guess what she did? Tried to embarrass me and abuse me and threaten to hurt me because that's what she felt like doing. And then guess what? That did a domino effect of me going, okay, if I'm already seen as a whore, then I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the fuck out of this house. And I will be with whoever and whatever. And I'll do whatever I fucking want because apparently no one can protect me even when I got vulnerable and begged them to, not even the people closest to me. I look out for me and now I'm the only one who can choose my own fate. When she did her childhood abusive shit to me plenty of times, it just taught me to hide certain things better and not rely on her as someone to talk to. She was not in any way a safe person, and the estrangement was deserved. So if I am ever around someone who has a kid, I appreciate when they come to me for advice because they don't want to fuck up their kid. Now, I will say this, it semi ties in to the topic. The guy I claimed openly, I don't like saying his name, he's pathetic. Funny enough, I have his beanie, but you know, fuck him. Didn't fit his cone fucking pinhead ass anyway. He didn't want to fuck up his kid because he knows that's like, you know, you're her only parent, and if you fuck up your kid, then that's like astronomical side effects. And so I remember he was like, "Hi, my daughter might be. It says she's interested in being a furry. I don't want to entertain her being delusional or schizophrenic, but like, I don't know. I'm scared. Me, I have way too much time on the internet and also a fucked up past, so I knew how to handle this already. I just said you need to be open with her and accept her and leave room for her to talk to you and approach you." And then like just let her talk and talk and talk about her passion, even if you don't understand it, just nod and listen, just nod and listen. And then like if she says anything that's like really concerning, like if she has an online chat room presence, or like some friends that are a little bit too old, or like something really sus comes up, like at least even if she doesn't tell you now, she'll tell you eventually because there's a rapport built of like, okay, my dad doesn't understand everything, but he's trying. And you know, and then alongside that, it was mentioned like, you know, hey, and then I was like, frankly, plus like she's 9, she's not even in the double digits yet, so for her this is probably just gonna be some phase. I even told him, it's like, hey, I had a phase where I thought I was fucking Storm from X-Men and could control the weather, and my mother, you know, she could have easily been a bitch, but instead she was like, oh, are you the reason that it's leaking in the house? Are you making it rain? Stop that. And then and I was like, I'm sorry, but it did conveniently stop raining after that. But you know, she did good. She ate that one thing up. I'll give her that credit. And so because of that, I was like, yeah, like you don't like, I'd say you don't have to fully entertain it, but like entertain it to an extent. But it's like, yeah, For all we know, it's like she can just wear like what? Some little girl wearing cat ears? We haven't seen that before. Scary. And she'll probably like forget it that she ever did this. And like, no offense, it's actually becoming more popular and cool these days. I'd say like to an extent, let her embrace it. And he took my advice, and I'm glad that he felt comfortable doing so because, he could have said, fuck you, no, that's delusional and weird, and you're going to be a normal fucking girl and like it, and that would have caused a lot of things to go bad. She would have rebelled, trusted him with less stuff, not, and instead now it's a thing they bond over. They go to like fucking craft stores looking for little fabrics so she can make new little cute masks or little kitty ears, and she's making friends because of it. They are safe and having a blast. And that is really the important part. And like then their bond got stronger because of it, and it was lovely. And yeah, and then it's like okay, and then you'd go to Japantown with her, and it's like okay, here's a little girl who's wearing cat ears and a tail, pretty normal for Japantown. Like, only once though did he kind of mess up because he took her to a park where she specifically asked to do fox stuff. He was like, yeah, go ahead. And then she started trying to practice doing little fox jumps in public, and other kids started laughing at her and mocking her. And then he kind of like was fed up and he was like, yeah, I'm taking you home. Don't do this in public ever again. Because you're going to have kids mocking you, embarrassing you, and laughing at you, and da 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 da. And I had to explain to him, like, oh, so what you're saying is she should care about what other people think and let like peer pressure get to her, and that she should be ashamed of what you just told her she should embrace. What is it? Like, it doesn't seem like she was embarrassed at all. You left because you felt embarrassed. And then he was like, ah, shit, you're kind of right. But, and he was like, I don't want her to get harassed or bullied, is all. And I said, that's fine. Just make sure you're not gonna, like, be your daughter's first bully. Because if she's not affected by them, then, like, I think you can be strong enough to, like, not be affected by them either. Like, what? You're gonna be affected by some 10-year-olds mocking your kid for, like, being silly in public? And, like, no offense, there's kids at that same fucking playground pretending to be knights and eating sand. Like, you're gonna, like, if anything, your kid's getting healthy amounts of exercise. Like, come on now. But he eased up, and now she has like plenty of friends in all different circles, and she's a very popular, like, healthy kid, so that works well. Anyway, I'm just saying, acceptance goes a long way, and think to yourself, do I need to beat this kid's ass? Like, think of it this way. When you were a kid, like, if you dropped the plate, would they beat your ass? Even though it was just as easy as sweeping up the plate and then recognizing not to do it again? That's totally understandable. You don't need to beat your kid's ass over that. If it was something like the kid dropped the plate on purpose because he thought it was funny, then there's like, I wouldn't say beat his ass yet, but you can definitely be like, get the fuck, grab the fucking dustpan now. We do not stand for this behavior. And then, like, it's not hard to really scare a kid as long as you're intentional about, like, hey, don't fucking try me. And then you make them clean it up themselves so they understand the punishment. And, like, is like, oh shit, and then, there's other punishments you can do. You don't have to just jump straight into, oh no, one of the dishes I got from the thrift store broke, I should try to murder my child. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, let's be normal here. Let's be responsible. If the kid feels bad enough already, I like to consider that a punishment. There are things, like, you don't have to make your kid feel worse about things than they already do. And if they don't feel bad at all, simply put, like, don't just let your kid go into a psychopath, but try not to do anything that would, like, how do I put this? If you read any serial killer documentaries and you hear about some of these kids' home life, I'm just saying, try to, like, if you were the type of person to read over their biography and you'd be like, oh shit, I'm doing like one or two things on this list already, I suggest you nip those in the bud. Otherwise, you're gonna have mentally unstable children who have homicidal tendencies and make vlogs about how terrible you are on the internet. And I suppose you don't want that, right? You want a kid that loves you and, like, would like to not put you in a retirement home unless it was like a really, really good one. Yeah. I'm just saying. Also, you want your kids happy, so don't even just think about yourself. You want your kids happy, emotionally healthy, caring about other people, and all that. So, yeah. I like to think I've made my point. But yeah, just take care of your kids, but, like, and also be humble enough as a person to recognize that you've made errors and that maybe you could do a little bit better with discipline. Maybe you could rein in a bit and be a little bit more relaxed and have some more leeway. And, like, yeah, try your best. And, like, overall, don't go medieval on your kid. And unless they, like, might. Actually, no, don't go medieval on your kid. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.